Benjamin Morrison had always prided himself on being 3 steps ahead of everyone else. At 38, he owned Morrison Security Consulting, a private firm that specialized in corporate espionage prevention and personal protection for high-net-worth individuals. His military background as a Navy SEAL had taught him patience, precision, and, most importantly, that trust was a luxury he couldn't afford, except when it came to his family. The Morrison household in Westfield, Connecticut had been the picture of suburban perfection. Ben's wife Diana was a real estate agent who had sold million-dollar homes with the same ease she'd sold him on the idea of their forever love 8 years ago. Their son Tyler was a bright 9-year-old who'd inherited Ben's analytical mind and Diana's charm. Ben had met Diana at a charity gala in Manhattan. She was 26 then, recently divorced from her college sweetheart Rick Hoffman and working to rebuild her life. Ben was immediately drawn to her vulnerability, masked by fierce independence. She claimed Rick had been controlling and emotionally unkind, painting herself as the victim who'd escaped the toxic marriage. Ben, being the protector he was, fell hard for both her story and her beauty. What Ben didn't know was that Diana had left Rick for a wealthier client. But when that relationship imploded, she'd strategically positioned herself to meet someone like Ben, successful, stable, and emotionally available. Rick, meanwhile, had spent the years since their divorce building a construction company, staying single, and harboring the hope that Diana would return to him someday. The morning that shattered Ben's world started like any other. He'd returned early from a 3-day business trip to Chicago, planning to surprise Diana and Tyler. Instead, he found their Westfield home empty, with a note on the kitchen counter written in Diana's careful handwriting. Ben, I can't pretend anymore. Rick and I never stopped loving each other. I've sold the house. The papers are in your office. Tyler and I have moved in with Rick. We can discuss custody arrangements through lawyers. Please don't make this harder than it needs to be. Diana. Ben read the note 3 times before the reality hit him. He checked his office and found the house sale documents. Diana had forged his signature on a power of attorney 4 months ago and sold their $800,000 home to a quick sale company for $650,000. The money had already been transferred to an account he'd never seen before. But it was the custody papers attached that made his blood run cold. Diana was claiming he was an unfit father due to his dangerous profession and extended absences, requesting full custody with supervised visitation only. Ben's phone buzzed with a text from Tyler. Dad, I'm at Uncle Rick's house now. Mom says this is our new home. I miss you. Can you come get me? The betrayal cut deeper than any wound Ben had ever sustained in combat. Diana hadn't just left him. She'd planned this for months, possibly years. The forged documents, the strategic timing while he was away, the custody play. It was all calculated. Ben walked through his empty house, each room echoing with memories that now felt like lies. In Tyler's room, he found a small notebook hidden under the mattress. Inside, Tyler had been keeping a diary of sorts, with entries like, Mom talks to Uncle Rick every night when Dad's not home, and, Mom said, Uncle Rick is my real dad, but I know that's not true. That's when Ben realized Tyler had known something was wrong. His son, his brilliant, observant son, had been watching, waiting, and apparently planning something of his own. Ben drove to Rick's construction company office, a modest building in Bridgeport. He needed to see Tyler, to understand what his son had done, and to begin planning his response. Rick Hoffman was a tall, rugged man with calloused hands and an easy smile that had once charmed Diana. Now, seeing him again after 8 years, Ben could see why Diana had been drawn to him. Rick represented a simpler time in her life, before ambition and social climbing had hardened her. Ben, Rick said, stepping out of his office trailer. I figured you'd show up. Where's my son? He's inside with Diana. Look, I know this is messed up, but Diana and we never got proper closure. We have history. Ben studied Rick carefully. Despite the situation, he didn't sense malice in the man, more like someone who'd been lonely and vulnerable to Diana's manipulation. History doesn't give you the right to steal my family. I didn't steal anything. Diana made her choice. Before Ben could respond, Tyler burst out of the trailer, running straight into his father's arms. "Dad, I knew you'd come." Diana appeared in the doorway, looking uncomfortable but defiant. "Tyler, get back inside. Your father and I need to talk." "Actually," Tyler said, grinning up at Ben, "I think Dad's going to want to hear what I did first." Ben knelt down to Tyler's level. "What are you talking about, buddy?" Tyler's grin widened. "Remember how you taught me about insurance policies and backup plans? Well, I made my own backup plan." Diana's face went pale. "Tyler, don't." 3 months ago, when Mom started acting weird and talking to Uncle Rick all the time, I started recording their phone calls, Tyler announced proudly. "I hid your old surveillance equipment in Mom's purse and her car. I have hours of recordings of them planning this whole thing." Ben felt a surge of pride mixed with concern. His son had been conducting his own investigation. "That's not all, Dad. I also made copies of all the papers Mom was hiding in her secret box, including the ones where she practiced forging your signature." And Tyler paused dramatically. "It's time to call in some favors," Ben muttered to himself, dialing his first contact. "I need everything you have on Diana Morrison's real estate deals over the past 5 years. Look for anything suspicious, especially if it involves Rick Hoffman's construction company." Chapter 20. He hung up and moved on to his next call. "I need you to dig into Diana's financials. See if there are any unusual transactions, especially around the time she started seeing Rick again. Cross-reference it with her real estate deals and see if anything matches up." Ben's mind was racing, but he felt a sense of control returning. He was back in his element, strategizing and planning. He made a few more calls, each one a piece of the puzzle he was assembling. He needed to build a case so airtight that Diana and Rick wouldn't stand a chance. By morning, Ben had a mountain of information. He spread it out on the hotel room table, sifting through documents, emails, and financial records. He found patterns, connections, and evidence that Diana had been meticulously covering her tracks. But Tyler's recordings were the smoking gun. They provided the context and intent behind every action Diana had taken. Ben called Marcus Valdez again. "I've got more, a lot more. Diana's been embezzling from my business, selling information to competitors, and planning to send Tyler to boarding school to get him out of the way. She's been playing a long game, and I've got the proof." Marcus whistled. "This is big, Ben. Really big. We can use this to build a case not just against Diana, but against Rick, too. His company's financials are a mess. We've been watching him for a while, and this could be the break we need." Ben nodded, even though Marcus couldn't see him. "I want them both to pay for everything. I want Tyler back, and I want them to know that they can't just walk away from this." Marcus agreed. "We'll make it happen. Stay in touch and let me know if you find anything else. We're on the same team here." Ben hung up and looked at the pile of evidence in front of him. He felt a mix of pride and anger. Pride in his son for being so clever and resourceful, and anger at Diana for thinking she could get away with this. He picked up his phone and dialed Tyler's number. "Hey, buddy, it's Dad. I need you to do something for me. Can you get your mom's laptop and bring it to me? I need to check something on it." Tyler's voice was small but determined. "I can try, Dad. I'll find a way." Ben smiled. "That's my boy. Be careful, okay? I love you." "I love you too, Dad. I'll call you soon." Ben hung up and took a deep breath. He was one step closer to getting his family back, and this time he was playing to win. "That's my boy," Ben said, voice steady yet full of warmth. "You're brave and smart, and I promise you, this will all be over soon. I'm proud of you. Don't ever forget that, no matter what happens." Tyler's reply came quickly. "Thanks, Dad. I promise to be careful. I won't let them see I know anything." Ben smiled, feeling a fierce glow of love and satisfaction. Good, and remember, if anything feels wrong, you call me right away. No matter what. I'll always come for you. Okay, Dad, I love you, Tyler's message read, ending with a flurry of heart emojis. Ben leaned back, letting out a long breath. The pieces were falling into place. The legal and financial traps he'd set had been sprung, dismantling Diana and Rick's carefully constructed facade. Still, Ben understood that the true battle was for Tyler's heart and peace of mind. Throughout the day, calls poured in from attorneys, colleagues, and law enforcement. Carol kept Ben updated, her sharp voice crisp with efficiency. Diana is panicking, she reported. She called her office begging for a meeting. They've cut her off, and the judge has expedited the emergency motion for temporary full custody in your favor, effective immediately. Carol continued, unable to keep the note of triumph from her voice. You'll have Tyler back within the week. Ben's shoulders relaxed as he realized just how thoroughly the tides had turned. Indeed, Diana and Rick were being forced to confront a reality they never imagined possible. Ben felt no guilt, only a deep sense of justice. Tyler, too, would see that even in the face of betrayal, his father would fight for him, with honor, cleverness, and unbreakable love. The message was clear. No one walks away from Benjamin Morrison's family without consequences. And as Ben prepared for the coming confrontation, he knew that his greatest victory would be ensuring Tyler's happiness and safety above all else. Ben watched her, his expression unyielding. Disappear? That's a start. But it's not enough. You see, Diana, you made a grave mistake. You underestimated me. You underestimated Tyler. And now, you're going to face the consequences. Diana's tears turned to sobs, her makeup streaking down her face. Ben, please, I'm sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen. Sorry? Ben's voice was like ice. You're sorry? You forged documents, embezzled money, and manipulated my son. You thought you could just walk away from this and start a new life with Rick? But you can't, because I won't let you. Diana's eyes widened in fear. What are you going to do? Ben leaned back in his chair, his voice steady and cold. I'm going to make sure you never hurt anyone again. I'm going to make sure you never see Tyler again, unless it's through a prison visitation window. And I'm going to make sure Rick pays for every lie he ever told. Diana's breath hitched. You can't do that. You can't just... Can't. Ben interrupted, his voice dangerous. Watch me. You see, Diana, I've been preparing for this moment for a long time. I've gathered evidence, I've built a case, and I've made sure that every single one of your actions has been documented. You're going to prison, Diana, and Rick is going down with you. Diana's face crumpled, her tears turning to desperate pleas. Ben, please, I love you. I love Tyler. I made a mistake. Ben stood up, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. Love? You don't know the meaning of the word. You manipulated, you lied, and you betrayed. And now, you're going to pay. Goodbye, Diana. I hope you enjoy your new home. It's going to be a long stay. Ben turned and walked away, leaving Diana sobbing at the table. He knew he had won. He had fought for his family, for his son, and for his honor, and he had emerged victorious. As he stepped out into the sunlight, he felt a sense of peace. The battle was over, and he had fought with all his might. Now, it was time to move forward, to heal, and to rebuild. Rick's posture was rigid, his face flushed with anger and embarrassment. Tyler looked up at Ben with relief in his eyes, but tried to keep his composure. Ben walked up, locking eyes with Rick. Here to pick up my son, Ben said calmly. Rick nodded, his jaw tight. He's packed and ready. Diana, you need to let this go. Tyler's better off with his father. Rick turned to Tyler, placing a hand on his shoulder. Take care of yourself, okay, buddy? Tyler gave a small nod, glancing once at his mother, then quickly looking away. Ben turned to Diana next. She looked utterly defeated, clutching a crumpled tissue in her shaking hands. "Ben, please," she whispered, voice cracking. "You've made your choices, Diana," Ben replied, quietly but firmly. "This is what consequences look like." Tyler walked over, head held high, and stood by Ben. Ben looked down at his son and put a steady arm around his shoulders. "Let's go home, Tyler." Diana broke down in sobs as they turned to leave, but Ben didn't look back. Rick stayed in the doorway, arms crossed, watching silently. Ben put Tyler's small backpack in the back seat and made sure he was buckled in. As they drove away from the chaos and desperation left behind, Ben felt a weight begin to lift from his shoulders. Tyler stared out the window for a while before speaking up, quiet but sure. "Dad, I'm glad you came for me." Ben squeezed his son's hand gently. "I'll always come for you, Tyler. Always." The storm had passed, but Ben knew it would take time for the wounds to heal. Still, he was determined to give his son a life filled with honesty, love, and security. A life rebuilt from the ashes, stronger and brighter than before. "And Rick?" Diana's voice trembled. "What about him?" "Rick's construction company is under federal investigation. He's cooperating with the FBI to reduce his sentence. He's singing like a bird, Diana. He's telling them everything he knows about your little scheme." Diana's breath hitched. "You can't do this to me. You can't just—" "Can't?" Ben interrupted, his voice cold and unyielding. "I already have. You see, Diana, you underestimated me. You thought you could play your games and get away with it, but you can't, because I'm always one step ahead. I've been watching, waiting, and gathering evidence, and now it's time for you to face the consequences." Diana's sobs filled the line, but Ben felt no pity. "Please, Ben, I'm sorry. I'll do anything. Just make this stop." "It's too late for that," Ben repeated, his voice steady and calm. "You made your choices, and now you have to live with them. You thought you could manipulate me, manipulate Tyler, and manipulate everyone around you. But you can't, because I'm not just going to watch you destroy my family. I'm going to make sure you never have the chance to hurt anyone else again." Ben hung up the phone, his heart pounding with a mix of anger and satisfaction. He had won. He had fought for his family, for his son, and for his honor, and he had emerged victorious. As he looked at the surveillance feeds, he saw Diana's motel room door open. She stumbled out, her face streaked with tears, and collapsed on the ground. Ben felt a sense of peace wash over him. The battle was over, and he had fought with all his might. Now it was time to move forward, to heal, and to rebuild. He turned off the monitors and stood up, walking over to the window. Outside, the sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the city. Ben took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the past few weeks lift from his shoulders. He had done what he had to do, and now he could focus on what truly mattered: his son and their future together. His company crumbled under the weight of his inability to secure new contracts, and his reputation was in tatters. Ben ensured that Rick would never work in the industry again, a stark reminder of the consequences of his actions. Ben's final move was to ensure that Diana and Rick would never have the chance to reunite or conspire against him again. He made sure that every legal avenue was closed to them, every financial resource was cut off, and every social connection was severed. Diana's world was collapsing around her, and Ben watched with cold satisfaction. As the weeks turned into months, Ben focused on rebuilding his life with Tyler. They moved into a new house, a place filled with love and laughter, far from the shadows of Diana's betrayal. Tyler thrived, his resilience and intelligence shining through as he adapted to their new life. Ben made sure that Tyler had everything he needed: therapy, support, and most importantly, a father who was always there for him. One evening, as they sat in the living room, Tyler looked up at Ben with a small smile. "Dad, do you think Mom will ever change?" Ben paused, considering his words carefully. "Change is possible, Tyler, but it takes more than just wanting to change. It takes action, and it takes time. Your mother made her choices, and now she has to live with them. But you and we get to choose our future. And I choose a future where we're happy, where we're together, and where we never have to worry about anyone hurting us again." Tyler nodded, his eyes reflecting a mix of sadness and determination. "I choose that too, Dad. I choose us." Ben pulled his son into a tight hug, feeling a sense of peace and love that he hadn't known in a long time. "That's my boy. That's my strong, brave son." As they sat there, the weight of the past lifted and the promise of a brighter future shone before them. Ben knew that the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but with Tyler by his side, he was ready to face whatever challenges came their way. Together, they would build a life filled with love, trust, and the unbreakable bond of a father and son. Ben reached over and gently squeezed Tyler's shoulder. "It's okay to feel however you feel. You don't have to be sad just because other people think you should be. What matters is that you're honest with yourself. You went through a lot, and you get to decide what's right for you." Tyler nodded thoughtfully, then smiled. "I like our life now. I never have to worry about you leaving." "You never will, Tyler. I promise." Ben smiled, feeling a deep sense of peace settle over him. The weeks turned into months, and their new routines became a source of comfort. Tyler found joy in soccer practice, weekend fishing trips, and movie nights at home. Ben reveled in the laughter they shared and the trust that had grown between them, a bond forged in adversity and strengthened by unwavering love. Despite everything, Ben sometimes thought back to the storm they'd survived. He knew both he and Tyler would carry scars. But he also knew that life is not just about what you lose, but what you build afterward. As Tyler left the table to get ready for bed, Ben glanced at a family portrait, a new one taken just a month ago, father and son both grinning under the autumn trees. In that moment, Ben knew with certainty, after the fall, new beginnings were not only possible, they were beautiful. "What do you think?" Tyler considered this. "I think I'm sad about the mom I thought I had, but I'm not sad about the mom who lied to us and tried to steal our family." Ben felt a surge of pride in his son's emotional intelligence. "That's a very mature way to look at it." "Dad, are you going to get married again?" The question caught Ben off guard. "I don't know. Why?" "Because I think you should. But this time, maybe we should investigate the person first together." Ben laughed, the first genuine laughter he'd felt in months. "You want to run background checks on my dates?" "Maybe not background checks, but we should definitely test them somehow, see if they're really nice or just pretending." Looking at his son, this brilliant, resilient boy who'd helped save their family with his courage and intelligence, Ben felt something he hadn't experienced since before Diana's betrayal. Genuine hope for the future. "You know what, Tyler? That's not a bad idea. We make a pretty good team." "The best team," Tyler agreed. "And Dad, next time, let's make sure she loves both of us for real." Ben pulled his son into a hug, marveling at how someone so young could be so wise. Diana had tried to destroy their family, but instead she'd only made it stronger. She'd thought she was manipulating a weak man and an ignorant child, but she'd underestimated both of them completely. The final irony wasn't lost on Ben. Diana had spent years planning to take everything from him, but in the end, she'd given him the greatest gift possible. Proof that his son was truly his in every way that mattered. Tyler had chosen his father over his mother, truth over lies, loyalty over betrayal. As for Diana, Craig, and Rick, they were learning that crossing Benjamin Morrison came with consequences that lasted a lifetime. Ben never forgave, never forgot, and never showed mercy to those who threatened his family, and he never would. The Morrison family was now just two people, but it was complete. They'd survived the ultimate betrayal and emerged stronger, smarter, and absolutely unbreakable. Diana could spend her days in prison for all Ben cared. She'd made her choices, and now she could live with them forever. Ben and Tyler had better things to do than waste another moment thinking about the woman who'd thrown away everything that mattered for absolutely nothing. The last laugh, as always, belonged to Benjamin Morrison. Ben and Tyler walked forward into their new life, together, unbreakable, and finally, truly free.